Ooh, ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome. This morning it was absolutely beautiful, not a cloud in the sky. And look at us now. It is raining. But I am back at Insurance Auto Auction offsite location in Vancouver, picking up a Ford Focus, called Focus Pocus. But this one is a clean title. I sold the other two that I had, and this one has some damage, but it's black in color. Hopefully it won't be too visible. I think 110,000 miles. Carfax shows the engine mounts were replaced, and it seems like it was well maintained. I will need another mirror. It seems like the last two Focuses needed a mirror. This one will also need a mirror. I'm doing cheap cars for the time being. So I gave my paperwork to the forklift driver, and I see him off in the distance, so he has it. So it will be here within 30 seconds or so. So welcome, let's check this thing out, and hopefully it was a good purchase. Here it comes. It looks like we'll need a new taillight too. There it is, guys, and it awkwardly looks like it's sitting on a flat tire or something on this left-hand side. It is sitting on a flat tire, and I don't know if I have a pump, and I will not be able to drive it like this. But I guess let's open it up. Oh, and this is the other thing I forgot, man. I am so unprepared today. It's unfortunate, but hey, look at that. I see it flashing, but I think with a jump we'll be able to get this thing going. Let's check fluids. So we do have coolant. Let's see what this looks like. Again, I'm not really anticipating any mechanical issues with it. Look at that fresh oil right at the top. We will need a jump. So thankfully my wife has a kit that she drives around with that should have a pump, but I want to get this car started. And then I will work on pumping up the tire. Hopefully it is not punctured. Found this in my wife's car. I highly doubt that'll do anything. Hey, look, I got change down there. But let me see with two hands if I could twist this and somehow get this off. Well, I ended up breaking that, but I bought this wonderful flashlight, and it does have a little blade right there, so I got the key. Now let's hope my jump box has enough juice. It does. We have a check engine light. Oh, I hear the power steering. We have an airbag light on. Okay, let's hook up the pump. Let's see what we could do with this. Car is slowly warming up. The tire is slowly getting air. Took off the sticker off the front plate, although they are way expired. Took that off a little bit. So this is more or less the damage we have, which honestly makes me a little bit worried about a new taillight going on here. It might not fit. But aside from that, I mean, this side looks fine. Very minor paint chipping and rust right there that could be touched up. We have manual windows, but this is also manual. This is an 07, so I think the last year in this body style before they went to the new one. But I mean, it seems to be fine. Obviously, we'll see what the check engine light is on for, and the fact that it's on there could be another fuel thing, system issue. We have tire. I think the tire, as long as it holds enough for a few miles, I'll be okay. If not, then this will be a trip. But look, it's still coming down pretty darn hard. Hard to tell where the tires are, the condition-wise, as they are covered in mud. But clean title, once I get this kind of fixed up, this one will be a winner. I want to say after fees, I paid like $750 for this car. And obviously $750 isn't a lot of money. The other two Focuses, I sold both of them for $2,900 a piece. One was similar miles, I think 101, this one is 113. But that one had, it was a 05 and it had a salvage title. So this one with a clean title, I mean 3,500 bucks with body damage, even 3 grand with body damage, this thing should fly off the lot pretty darn quick. And it's black with tinted windows. I mean, it looks decent for what it is. I don't see any like white smoke, so I don't think we have any mechanical issues. But let's see what the tire PSI is at. We are roughly at about 30, so maybe I'll get it up to 35 and we could head out. It needs to be at 32, so actually we are pretty much good to go. Let me shut this off and let's head out. Okay, let's move out. It shows doors open. I am not going to really focus on that. The goal is to get out of here. Very odd, engine mounts were replaced according to the Carfax, but it has vibration. Almost like they haven't been replaced. But I suppose we'll see. Main priority is just to get out of here, make it safely to my house. That's where I am trying to go. And then I'll take it to the lot when I have time. I tried to buckle up, but it is crazy moldy, the seat. And now I took it out and I smell it, like heavy, heavy mold. I don't like it. But we're doing 40 miles per hour. Temperature gauge has not started to move. Could be a good thing or a bad thing. But it's been running for a few minutes, 5 minutes or so, so not necessarily expecting it to go up just yet, but it would be nice to see it move. It's beeping at me, probably because I'm not buckled in. So right off the bat, what I see, what I'll need to do, windshield wipers, very minor. Ignore that beeping, that's for me not being buckled in. Driver mirror, manual mirror, the driver's side tail light, and then figure out why we have an airbag light and a check engine light on. Sometimes it's caused by low battery voltage or like low fuel, so it might not be something even that serious. And I definitely hear the power steering, although it feels totally fine. Like I don't feel a lot of resistance, so it's working, but I hear the whine, so it's probably going out, or it could be low on fluid or lower on fluid, so I'll have to check that once I get back to the house. But aside from that, it's moving on its own. It shifts fine. I mean, it seems like mechanically for the most part it's a-okay. And I have driven long enough to where I'm starting to feel the warmth through the vents. Gauge is still not moving, but we only have a few miles left to go.
A few minutes later,
I am almost at the house. I think my tire is holding air because it doesn't pull left or right, so it's running straight, which is a good sign. The bad sign is I do have heat through the vents, but the temperature gauge has not moved at all, which from my previous Focus, I guess if something doesn't work on your cluster, it will throw a check engine. So that could be why we have a check engine. I'll obviously come home and pull the codes and see what we have, but mechanically, from the driving I've done, it seems a-okay.
A few moments later.
Made it to the house with no change to the temperature gauge, but it does sound like the fan is going. It is, but we do have coolant, but the fan is definitely going. So I have some stuff to take a look at. It almost looks like I don't really have power steering fluid. It's a little bit, oh look. It's a little bit kind of dirty and messy in here. It's not a very clean engine base, so hard to tell, but yeah. I mean, just looking in here, it doesn't really look like it's full, so I'll add that, see if that noise goes away. Still let it run, and I'll check the engine codes and see what we have. Added some power steering fluid. It was white, and then it like, and now it's a funky color. Let's see if it'll clear up or not. Give me like actually turn the steering wheel, but I don't think it needs to be that milkiness or milky color. But hey, the sound is a lot better. So it might have been, oh, look at that. Yeah, it's all coming out. So I think I was right. We do have a power steering issue of some sorts. Well, let's take a look in here. And what do we have for the codes? Key on, engine off. Oh, engine running. So let's see what it'll show us. Okay, let's see what we got. That one doesn't look good. Cylinder head temperature P1289, P1703. Brake switch, maybe that's for brake light. Occupant something, not in self-test range. Yeah, that's a lot of codes, to be honest, guys. So I am going to take pictures of all of these and start doing research. I cleared the airbag light. Not enough. But the car ran in total for probably 20 minutes and the temperature gauge did not move at all. So I'm assuming the check engine light, the cylinder head temperature out of range, whatever the code was, is in regards to that cylinder head code, and it could be a sensor or it could be something major, but honestly, engine sounds healthy. So I'm assuming some kind of sensor of some sort, but like I said, time for me to do some research on all of this, start pricing stuff out, start ordering parts so that I could get this thing up and running and off to a new home.
A few moments later.
Wanted to see if I have anything in the trunk, and voila, more gifts. Hey, I actually need one at the lot. So that almost tells me that that tire will let air out eventually. I mean, this looks like cleaning stuff, but I don't really want to touch too much with bare hands. But this right here, automatic transmission and power steering fluid. So they knew there was an issue, so I'm assuming it's leaking. Motor oil. Let's see what's in here, maybe, vaguely, roughly. Not that, making a mess over here. But honestly, it's always so darn interesting to see stuff. No idea what that is, but it seems like something light. And then, who the heck knows? Maybe I'll take a look at everything once I figure out the mechanical stuff. Because obviously that's the priority, and it's raining and I don't want to be out here.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
I am trying to not lose any time, and I have pretty much ordered everything for this car but the mirror. New taillight is on the way. So with the check engine light, honestly, I'm kind of putting all of my eggs in one basket, if that makes sense. And what I mean by that is, from the driving that I've done, the car, as far as I know, it doesn't overheat, it shifts well, it runs fine. Obviously it has a few issues and imperfections and whatnot, but for the most part it runs fine. So that makes me believe and think that this car, I can fix it and I could get it retail ready. So I have placed an order for a new battery. There is a sensor. Oh, well, this is our issue. So this sensor right here is the cylinder head temperature sensor. And as you guys can see, we have a wiring issue, which is not what I was expecting, but so there's that. That's on its way. I have a new power steering pump, the whole assembly, pump, pulley, and reservoir on the way. I did not buy any new fluid just yet, and I did order a new serpentine belt. I figured since I'll be in there anyways, might as well replace it. It didn't sound like I needed to replace it, but I don't have a record of it being replaced, and obviously I just want to make everything right to the best of my abilities. So pretty much everything is ordered, everything but that side mirror. That I will kind of, I'll get it ordered. It's like 30 bucks. So right now I am pulling out the battery. I am going to my lot. Some of the parts will get delivered there. Oh, and I ordered new windshield wipers. The other parts will get here in about 2-3 days. And then hopefully we'll start replacing and fixing everything. New battery installed. I have new windshield wipers right here, Bosch. Get those replaced. And here we have a connector, so I will actually have to splice all of this. Man, looks like someone literally like almost chewed through it. Looks very, very odd. And I still have the new sensor on the way, but here's our connector, and hopefully I do it right. Anyways, that is my project for right now. And I don't know what I'm touching here. Yeah, the other thing I did actually order is the thermostat, because again, I went feet deep into this whole thing trying to make it right and not lose time. I don't remember where the thermostat is on these cars, but that's another thing that I might end up replacing. Maybe it's right here. I don't remember. By the looks of all of this, it looks like little nuts, and there's probably mouse or rat poop. Basically, these are characteristics of small rodents or something of the nature. So I will actually vacuum all of this up. I would almost assume that the sensor is going to be fine. They just chewed through it, and I will probably try to get like 2 right here and then install the new sensor. And I'll actually go off of the position and the wiring, so I should be able to install this correctly the first time.
A few moments later.
This is so dumb. One, the weather. The weather is just utter doo-doo. But got everything connected. You guys see this little pin right here? It's on the other side on this sensor, so it doesn't go down all the way. Got everything connected. Could have hooked it up, and no go.
Several days later.
This is probably 2 days later, and our tire is flat. So first thing I'll be doing this morning is actually taking off this tire and wheel and seeing if there's a hole somewhere that I could patch up. And then we will work on this sensor. Beauty of this sensor, it doesn't have this bottom pin, like a little cutout that the connector pin and the other one has. So this sensor should work, so I don't have to redo the wiring or anything of those sorts. And then honestly, I think I could start driving it. That won't come off on the freeway. It'll be a little bit weird, but the new one is on its way. It should be here in a few days. Honestly, I think I have all the parts. Power steering pump came in. I actually don't have the fluid, and the serpentine belt should arrive today. So everything has been ordered. Almost everything is here. Now I just have to strap down my boots and roll up my sleeves and get this job done.
A few minutes later.
I was just about to give up, but I found it. Look at that, it's on the inside. I was gonna say, because I poured water from the other side, I didn't see anything. I was gonna say, if anything, that's probably what's causing it. And look at that, we have little bubbles coming up right from here. So I will most likely need a new wheel. I am almost positive that this could probably even be resealed, actually, because it's super minor, but it's an obvious leak. But the tire is perfect. It has nothing in it, and I looked a few times, and the tread is fantastic. I'd probably say 85% or so. But yeah, that's going to be our issue. So within a few days, it will let all the air out like before. Or maybe the old hammer at home trick will do the trick. Okay, while I do other stuff in the engine bay, I'll continuously pour water in here and see if that'll do it. But I definitely, well, first of all, I missed a few times, but I did straighten it out. So I guess we'll see. I am genuinely stumped. I need a 19 millimeter, I think it's a 19 millimeter, but deep socket, and I don't have one. I have one close to a little bit larger, but it won't do the trick. So I'll have to see if I have one at the lot or actually need to go to the store to get this sensor out. But while I'm here, I guess we could connect it, see if it would actually work. And it looks like it does. Beautiful. Take this off. So we have that set up. And I'm hoping my job doesn't undo the connectors, because that would kind of suck. It's very actually uncomfortable to get in there. Yeah, but the tire looks totally fine. I'll obviously put it on and see what happens in the next few days, but already minor hiccups. I want you guys to wish me luck because this car's starting to really annoy me. So that tire is still an issue, and I got the new 19 millimeter. Looks like it's made, where was it? China, Japan, right there, if you guys could make any sense of that. And it doesn't freaking fit. This is as far as it goes, honestly. Just hoping that I could take it out, put the new one in, and move on with this project. I'll use two hands so I don't snap anything. Beautiful. New sensor, or old sensor, is out. I need a napkin, see if I could pull this out easy. Oh boy. Well, here's the old one, original. Here's the new one. I'm just hoping that this is an updated design. We're gonna roll with it. I am going to wing it and see what happens. I've heard size doesn't matter, so I really hope that's the case with this one. As long as it works, I am a-okay. There we go. New one is in, but man, I might have to redo this connection, electrical stuff, and maybe even pull back more wire so I could do a nicer, cleaner job. But we will save this sensor just in case. And I think I can safely clear the codes, start it, just let it run. Before I cleared the codes, I figured since the battery was disconnected, let me try it this way. I haven't actually started it since then. So look at that. I don't need my scanner, I don't need my tools, but the one thing I did forget is I've had my jump box here for 2 weeks now, or a week or something. So here's the deal. To me, it almost seems, I don't know, the Carfax, if I remember correctly, shows that the engine mounts were replaced, but for some reason it almost doesn't feel like they were. Because look, that mirror right there, if you guys will see, probably not, it has very minor vibration. Again, it's nothing like crazy, but it's the focus rattle is what I call it. I'm thinking out loud, do I want to maybe order new engine mounts? Had my mechanic do them on the other Focus, and then have him replace the power steering pump. Although power steering pump sounds okay now, I don't hear any noise. So honestly, what I think I'll do, since the main sensor is replaced, I have no check engine light as of right now. I will probably get that wheel taken care of, take it into a wheel shop and see if they could fix it, and then go from there. But like, look, even this, like, just very minor. I don't know if camera will even show anything. Just very minor stuff, and not that it's a big deal, but I don't know. It's one of these things, like when I notice it, I almost want to fix it and make sure the customer's happy and they don't have any issues. But Carfax doesn't, you know, say if it was new or when I was replaced. Maybe it was from a used Focus, and obviously who knows how many miles that thing had, so it might have been new to this car, but it doesn't make sense, man. The engine mounts are so inexpensive, aftermarket ones. Like, why would you get used ones if that's the case? But like, even judging by this one, it doesn't seem to be that new, especially that right there. And again, it's nothing terrible, but it's definitely noticeable to me. And then maybe at the same time have my mechanic replace the power steering pump and just kind of go through it. And what I can do is actually take it to him, so I won't trailer it, take it to him, I'll drive it, because from here, my house mechanic is probably a solid 15 miles away, maybe more. And this way the onboard computer will do its thing, he'll do that, and then hopefully by the time I get it to the lot, if it has no issues, then I could take it through DEQ, get it cleaned up, and off it goes. But one thing I am worried about is this taillight. This is the part that honestly sketches me out. I don't remember the design on the Focus, but it might be an odd looking taillight. But I do have the mirror. I'll get that replaced right now. And then I think load the car up with parts that I have, just so that when time comes, it's ready to go.
Several days later.
Piece by piece, working on cars. But to my surprise, the new taillight actually fit. Could see minor damage through there, but it fit. I thought it would be a lot worse, to be honest. And then I opened this and remembered that I still have to pull all of this stuff out and go through it. But in all honesty, I feel like the way my brain works is like piece by piece, and I think that's essentially what will actually happen. I'll just do a little bit on this car, a little bit on another car, a little bit on another car, and eventually all of them will come together in harmony. Okay, that's in and tied down, but update on this, it's still letting air out, and I drove it higher speeds, it is out of balance, and I feel it in the steering wheel. It starts to kind of shake and it's no good. So the plan with that one is take it off. We have a place that fixes wheels, so I'll take it off, take it to them, see if they could fix the bend, get it balanced so it's ready to go with no issues. And I actually have a motorcycle that I also need to see if they could straighten out and fix. It also has a bend. If they can't, I don't know if it's worth putting aftermarket wheels on this thing, but I'll figure that out. That's a bridge to cross once I get there. I have new engine mounts that got delivered. So it seems like when I first picked it up, it was low on power steering fluid. It could probably use a power steering fluid flush. I'll see if I'll do that. But I don't need a new power steering pump. Don't need to replace the serpentine belt. And I bought a thermostat for the car because obviously we couldn't see the light, but after I found the issue, it's fixed. The gauge works. I have heat through the vents. So no issues with the cooling system. And I'll have to return all of those items. That's probably $100, $150 worth of stuff, which in the end will save me some money. I have it, but then getting deeper into it, I don't see a point of replacing parts if you don't need to replace them. Plus, those would be aftermarket parts, and this thing has OEM parts. Yeah, that's kind of where we're at with this car for now. And then I'll see if I could fix that up and maybe clean up the scratches and whatnot. But still, it's a clean title, 07, 100-something thousand miles. This one shouldn't last very long. It should be a solid driver once I am done with it.
Several days later.
Sometimes I scratch my head and think, why do I do this to myself? Let's see if you guys will hear it. That was the jack. Okay, the jack is making more noise. Anyways, so the symptoms I'm having. When I go into turns, it almost sounds like the front shocks are kind of weak, the springs, and they creak. I honestly did not notice any like ball joint issues, lower control arms, anything along those lines. And the car runs straight. When you go over bumps, there's no clunking. But when I go, especially into my lot, so the street goes down and then you kind of have to go up to the left and you go over a hump, and that's when the body kind of twists, and that's when the suspension really gets used, and I hear it creaking, and I don't like it. I could potentially, maybe put some kind of lubricant on it, but honestly at 100,000 miles, I bought a whole kit. And by whole kit, I really do mean a whole kit. This is a whole front end rebuilt kit with lower control arms, bushings, joints, and everything in between. And I believe this box, I need to get a box cutter, should have my springs. So I am planning to do springs first and then go on a drive. If I don't feel any issues, I probably won't be replacing this. It was cheaper to get the whole kit, and if anything, I'll keep it because it seems like this is my third Focus that I've bought in the last 2 months or so. I've been getting them fairly cheap, and honestly, they are great daily drivers for someone that's not looking for something super fancy. And then it will still have to go to my mechanic to get the engine mounts replaced, which I also purchased. And I purchased a new bracket, but holy moly, it's been like 2 weeks and I still don't have it. It should be here tomorrow or the day after, but unbelievably slow service. Replacing the strut, essentially the spring, I'll have to take off these bolts and then see what we're working with underneath. So let me get it prepped. We'll get a better idea what I gotta do.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
You can congratulate me on a job well done. New parts installed, everything is tight. Putting the wheel tire back on and then starting the other side. I will not be filming that side, but look at that for comparison. What that looks like and what that looks like. And this is an original Ford Motor Company part. So they were original to the car. Time for an upgrade.
The next day.
It is a new day. I have not driven it because as soon as I finished, we went to Noah's soccer practice. And then this arrived. So I am working on getting this replaced. I just started, but I took out these rear like plastic screws. They're right here. And now I just need to figure out how to get this disconnected. I'm assuming it'll be at the bottom. The goal is not to take off the whole rear bumper. I'll try to kind of slide it off just enough space where I could get in and get this pulled out. But it seems like I'll probably, maybe have to get in here to take off that bracket. Yeah, I probably will. Yep. Yes, I will. It's right here. Okay, so I will start working on that, and then once that's done, honestly, aside from engine mounts, my work here is done. Old bracket is out, like I planned. Bumper did not have to fully come off. Now we get to reinstall this one. Here is, I suppose, the part number, or maybe it's on this side right here. So this is a original Ford part. I don't remember how much I paid for it, maybe $50. So more on the expensive side, especially for like a bumper bracket, but it's an 07 and like nobody has this part for some weird reason. So this is the only option I had. So let's get this thing reinstalled and fix this bumper. It should look a lot better. I don't see any more or less damage to the bumper, just minor scuffs. A very small crack right here, but nothing major. But regardless, once it's done, it'll look a lot better than how it did before. I am all done, although honestly, I did expect it to look a little bit better, but now I realize that this damage essentially pushed this in, and then the bracket that actually holds the bumper, it goes in kind of behind the taillight, and that whole metal piece, I mean, my pinky barely fits, but what, quarter inch, half an inch, it moved. So it won't look perfect, but I think after detail, I should have some black paint, maybe, you know, touch up stuff like this that's extremely minor, just to make it look a little bit better. But everything is assembled. Everything is essentially good to go. So I am going to go on the first drive after replacing the front end parts, and hopefully it runs fine. Hopefully there's no more noise, and at the same time I will try to take it through DEQ right now if the line isn't long. If I could get all of that, there's no more issues. The only thing left is engine mounts and then detail. So we'll see which one will come first, but this car is almost done and I'm very happy that it's almost done. If I remember correctly, this is a clean title car, so I should make decent money on it, and hopefully this one will sell quick because it is a cheaper car.
Several days later.
I am so close to getting this Ford Focus done. My mechanic replaced all the engine mounts. He said one of them, as he was pulling out, cracked in half, the rubber boot, so it was like gone. It idles and drives perfectly fine now, exactly what I would expect after new engine mounts. It's still very odd to me though that Carfax reported that it had new engine mounts. There's no way they would have failed within this time period. So either they replaced them with like used ones, or another reason not to necessarily trust Carfax, because this is a good example, and I have others. The Focus Pocus is done. I got it picked up from my detailer this morning. It has been photographed. All I have to do is list it for sale. As far as I know, I'm like $1,400 into it, roughly, plus or minus, 50 bucks. It is a clean title. Obviously the body's a little bit rough, but I think I'll price it at like $3,700. I think Carfax value shows up as $4,500 with the miles. So I'll price it a few $100s less, maybe $600-700 below that to, I guess, adjust for the body imperfections. And I think it's a fair price. It runs good mechanically. You guys saw I did a lot with this car, especially the suspension stuff. That was a slight pain. The other stuff wasn't too terrible. I want to say thank you for watching. Thank you for joining this journey. Consider subscribing. Really appreciate you guys spending your time with me. I will see you guys in another video.